Hi, Sheep. This is part 2 of my 3-part series on the Antichrist. And I hope you watched part 1 because it talks about what the Antichrist spirit is and the Antichrist by scriptures. And now I want to talk about the movie Now You See Me. Okay, the movie Now You See Me actually came out in 2013. Last year, I rented it out of the Red Box and watched it over and over again because it just got clearer and clearer to me that this was telling us who the Antichrist is and what he's up to. Okay, and now within the last couple of weeks, I see that it's on television. So they want you to get it. They're throwing it in your face. Okay, Now You See It is telling you all about the Antichrist. Okay, so when you first start off the movie, it talks about it has 4 horsemen, which is in Revelation 6. These magicians are called the 4 horsemen. That's the time of the end. Okay, we're in the time of the end. And the first trick they do, they're different tricks in the beginning. And the first one is a card trick. And he starts off saying, "Come close, because the more you think you see, the more I can fool you. And the closer you look, the less you see." So they're saying that you're being tricked, and the closer you try to find out what's going on, the more they can fool you. Okay, so the card trick consists of the 7 of diamonds. The card that was seen was the 7 of diamonds, and picked by the audience was the 7 of diamonds. And the way that the magician displayed it was on a high tower. Okay, so this is all symbolic, representing the New World Order. Okay, one world government under this Antichrist. Okay, so the number 7 means completion, meaning that this New World Order is completed. Diamonds mean durability. Durability. Diamonds are real strong, and you can't break them or destroy them. So it's saying that this is completed, and you can't destroy it. It's like a diamond. Okay, and the tower symbolizing the Tower of Babel, because in the Tower of Babel, you'll know that that was when Nimrod had everybody. They all spoke the same language, and they all were one. And God confused language because they were planning to do all kinds of horrific things. So the tower, it's like the Tower of Babel. Yeah, we're all one again. This one world government. Okay, so that's what that's all about. Now the next one trick is hypnosis, which is talking about mind control, which the government uses to control us and try to fool us. And the other one, I don't really know what the third one. I can't explain the third one really. I'm not really sure. I can't even remember it all that well. I know that he bent a spoon and it was all mind stuff, but and I think there was a honeybee involved. But I know that Freemasonry has like the honeybee thing in their belief system or symbolic system, but I don't exactly know what that means. Okay. And then the other trick was a piranha trick, where the girl, she gets into this thing of water and this big tank, and piranhas drop in, and she has to escape before the piranhas get to her. And next thing you know, you see like all red, like there's blood in the tank. But then she comes out of the audience and she's like, "Whoever thought of this is a sick sadist." And she's saying it like, oh, it's they're so cool, they're like a sick sadist. But she's talking about whoever thought of this one world government going after God's people and worshiping this one deity is a sick sadist, who is Satan the devil, who planned and devised this whole one world order thing. Okay, so of course they all get these tarot cards, and there's the all-seeing eye on each tarot card, which symbolizes Lucifer, who is also on our dollar bill, and who is the eye, which is the eye of Horus as well. And the address is all symbolic. It has March 29th. 2 and 9 is 11. That's symbolic. 444 is symbolic. 4 numbers are the same. Everything means something. East Evans Street. East, the worshipful master sits in the east, in the hall at Freemason Hall, or whatever you call their place of meeting. It's all a cult. Everything is a cult. Everything is a cult, okay? And actually, I looked up 444 in the occult, and it means the key, rise up, crossover, and second coming. So 444 is the rising up of the Antichrist, okay? Let's see. And the East, also in the East, the Tree of Life was planted in the East in the Garden of Eden. And of course, it's in New York, because the Antichrist actually lives in New York. Yes, the Antichrist lives in New York. All right. So let's see. So the 4 tarot cards. The cards are the Lover, the Hermit, Death, and the High Priestess. All symbolic. Everything in that movie is symbolic. So the Lover, I believe, would probably be God's people, because God is love and we have love in us and we love. The Hermit also is probably God's people, because we are considered hermits, because we don't, we're isolated, we're withdrawn from the world, and they see us as isolated because we don't take part in the world. Death, they do want us dead. God and the New World Order, the Antichrist, will go after God's people and will kill many of God's people. And the High Priestess has the pillars of Boaz and Jacob, just as Freemasonry does. I'm not sure exactly the complete symbolism of that. The white rose is in there too. There's a white rose in there, which is also in the Hunger Games. Then they go to this place, and when they get to this place, the address that's on the cards, they all meet up, and then there's like this blue laser light blueprint show, okay? And they're looking at this blueprint, and they're like, whoa, whoa. And blueprints symbolizes DNA, because the New World Government, the New World Order, they do mess with your DNA. Satan's plan was to taint God's DNA, God's creation of people, their DNA. He messed with it, and now they're the hybrids and so forth. That's in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, where the angels came down and had sex with women and created hybrids. They were called Nephilim, okay? We still have hybrids on the earth today, and they're still messing with God's DNA, okay? And the DNA is our blueprint, so that's where the blueprint comes from. Okay, and the girl, when she sees all this, she says, I really want to meet him, with real enthusiasm. And then someone else says, it's a show. So they want to meet this guy who set this meeting up and has this blueprint show and all this. And who they're talking about is the Antichrist, okay? They're excited that the Antichrist is going to come into power. All right, so, and then the horsemen, during the show, they say, for our last trick, we are going to do something never before seen. And I talked about this in my first video, because in the book of Matthew, God said that the Great Tribulation in the Bible, when he talks about the Great Tribulation, he said it's like something that we've never seen before and will never ever see again, what is going to come upon God's people, okay? The Antichrist, the man of intrigue himself, said it, who is on the scene now. He's on the scene. He's on the scene now. Like, if you watch this show, while these magicians are doing their trick, the 4 horsemen, they have a hood on. This man has a hood on, and you see him watching them, but they don't see him, and they don't see where he is, but he's there, and he's watching, and he's selecting. Okay, so that is the man of intrigue. That is the Antichrist, and he is on the scene right now, okay? He's not visible. He wasn't visible, but he is visible he's becoming more and more visible, I should say. He's always been there. And he's always been visible, but not to the degree that he's becoming visible now. Like as of the last few years, he's becoming more and more visible in the political scene. Okay. So yeah, so he is visible now, like big time visible. You've seen him. You see him all the time. He's big time visible. Okay. So now, like, okay, so let's get to what other part of the movie. They have a show, and they let's see. Okay, they go to jail. Let's do the jail scene. There's a jail scene, okay? And in the jail scene, they're talking to the detective, okay? And one of them tells the detective, I want you to follow, because no matter what you think you know, we will always be 1 step, 3 steps, 7 steps ahead of you. And just when you think you are catching up, that's when we will be right behind you. And at no time will you be anywhere other than where I want you to be. So come closer, get all over me. And because the closer you think you are, the less you will actually see. And then another guy tells him, or it may be the same guy, I haven't watched it in a little while. He tells him, you have what we call in the business, you have what we in the business like to call nothing up your sleeve. Okay, so nothing up your sleeve. Well, first when they say we're always steps ahead of you, that means they're steps ahead of people. We don't know what they're doing. They got it going on. They're 7 steps ahead of us, and we don't know what they're doing, but actually we do know what they're doing. Okay. And then he says, we like to call in the business, like to call nothing up your sleeve. You have nothing up your sleeve. Meaning, so when you think of a card game, right? When you think of a card game, like probably poker, I don't know card games really well, but when you have something up your sleeve, you take out, like when you take something out of your sleeve in a card game, it's probably like a trump card, right? Isn't it like a trump card? Like up your sleeve, that would be a trump, something that's unexpected, okay? So they have a trump card up their sleeve, something that people don't expect, and that is where the Antichrist is going to come through, okay? It's going to be something that you don't expect, and he's just going to be there, all right? So I have more to say about Now You See Me, so I'm going to do another video on this because my time is running out. Actually, I think I can finish this now. I think I have a couple of minutes left. Okay, so, and then there's a guy who is trying to figure them out, and he is, like God's people. He's the person that's God's people, and he goes to jail because he has, like, they say if you can't, they try to bribe him with money to not say anything, and then he says no, so he goes to jail. And at the end, when he's in jail, they said, you wanted to be a part of this, but you couldn't, you weren't selected, so now you're in jail and you tried to expose us, and so forth. So that's God's people. God's people are going to go to jail because they're trying to expose them, that they don't do what they say. And at the very, very end, you find out who the Antichrist is, and it's the man who was, you thought was against them all the time, but he was really for them, okay? He was in disguise. So that's how the Antichrist, you're not going to know, you're going to think he's for the people, but he's really not for the people, and that's the Antichrist, and he is the trump card, okay? The trump card. Keep that in mind, and we're going to talk more about the Antichrist. Love you. Bye. Mwah.